Hey there, Lisa here. Welcome to my channel. I hope you'll join me in my love of crafting and DIYs and hit that subscribe button. It's $5 under $5 time, and we are back this month with Dollar Tree Decor. And this is hosted every month by Missy from Crafty Cove DIY, by Emily from Farm Charm Chic, and this month's guest host is Annalee from Annalee Ashby DIY. All three ladies' channels, as well as the playlist, will be linked in my description box. All right, let's get into the projects today. Simple, simple, simple is the theme. These are the things that we are going to use, and we are going to make super simple DIYs today. No experience needed. For DIY number 1, I took several of these little bunnies. They come in like a pack of 12, and I want to say I took 4 of them. And I am going to glue the 4 of them all together. And then I am going to clamp it. Maybe I did 3. My gosh, you guys, I cannot remember. Anyways, I took 3 or 4 and I glued them together and then clamped them. And I just used wood glue to glue them together. Then once it was dry, I gave it a little light sanding. And then I took one of these furniture markers. These also come from the Dollar Tree. And just basically colored it. And that is all that I did for this one, but it is going to look so cute on a little tiered tray. For DIY number 2, I took the same basic principle here as the first one. I took the eggs and I glued 3 or 4 of them together. And I do recall that I did use 4 on this one. And so with wood glue, I glued the 4 of them together just to make a nice thick egg and clamped them until they had dried. Once they were dry, I took a roll of twine, and using hot glue, we are simply going to wrap this completely in twine. And to get it started, I had to use quite a bit of hot glue all the way around, but once you get going on it, you don't have to glue very often. And then it is just a matter of wrapping. When I got closer to the top, once again, I had to use a little bit more glue around the edges, just to make sure that it stayed in place where I wanted it. And then when I got to the end, I just took and glued it and then cut the top off. I then took a lighter to it and got rid of all of the little stray hairs. Next, I glued it to a Scrabble tile so that it had a little stand and would stand up easily on its own. And then I took a piece of twine and I took it all apart. And I am simply going to let this just sort of willy-nilly and glue on a couple of ears. And I just used a dab of hot glue, and then I just glued the bottom portion down, and that is it. I repeated that process for the other ear, and we are calling this guy done. DIY number 3, I took one of these styrofoam bunnies and wrapped it in twine, and that is literally all I do for this one. This one, the way that I wrapped the ears was a little bit strange, and I think if I were to do it again, I would wrap the ears going the opposite direction. You'll see what I mean when I get to the end here. But using a little bit of hot glue and twine, I am just going to wrap this teeny tiny little styrofoam bunny. Once we got to the end, I did the same thing as I did on the egg, just twirled it around and hot glued it down, and then I took a lighter and burned off any strays. For DIY number 4, I took one of these little styrofoam eggs from the Dollar Tree, and we are going to wrap it in twine. I told you guys we are doing super, super simple this month. And I just would hot glue, wrap, until I had it completely covered. And then somewhere I lost the footage, but I had this little piece of wood that I had picked up at a thrift store with a bunch of knobs in it. And I just glued my egg to that for a base. You could use a little block or a couple of Scrabble tiles put together or a Jenga block or like a bottle cap would work just to give it a little stand. And then I took this twine that already has the wire in it that I had picked up at the Dollar Tree, and it kept coming apart on me. So I did dab some hot glue at the ends. And then since the egg is styrofoam, I just stuck these down inside to give my egg some ears. I repeated the process twice so that he had 2 ears. And that is it for this one. And our fifth and final DIY, I took one of these wood blocks from the Dollar Tree, and then I took some of this burlap ribbon, and we are going to make some ears out of it. And so basically I just folded it in half and then cut it out with the scissors in an ear shape. I did do 2 for each ear. So once I had them cut out, then I just hot glued them together around the edges. And then I repeated the process for a second ear. Finally, I took and folded the bottom of the ear just a little bit so that I had a surface to glue to, and I glued it to the wood block. Then I took and glued the second ear down in the same fashion. Finally, I glued a little white pom-pom on the bottom to look like a little bunny tail. And that is it for this one. All right, time to look at all these super simple minis. So first we have our little twine wrapped rabbit, and then we have our teeny tiny rabbit, and then we have this little egg one, and our block bunny, and then finally our last egg rabbit. So you guys got to let me know which one is your favorite. Will you be recreating any of these? I appreciate you taking the time to join me today. Be sure to check out the playlist. And if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. Thanks so much.